kwa wale wawaniaji wa kiti cha ugavana katika kaunti hii ili wajieleze tu ni kipi ambacho watakuwa wanawatendea wananchi ikiwa wataibuka washindi. Kumbuke ya kwamba kwenye mitandao yetu ya kijamii vile unaweza kuwasiliana nasi kwenye Twitter @KBC Channel 1 News, @Nancy Okware, na vile pale kwenye Facebook @KBC Channel 1 News. Kumbuke ya kwamba pale kwenye Twitter hashtag ya kutumia ni Makueni Decides. Lakini kabla ya hayo yote na urejeshe usukani kwake John Jacob Kioria.
Thank you very much, Nancy Okware. We are going to introduce the candidates in a few, but some ground rules for the audience that have turned up tonight and in their numbers is that we shall not clap, we shall not jeer until probably when I tell you to clap. We shall give the candidates adequate time to respond to the questions posed to them. Each one of you will have 2 minutes to respond to the question asked. If you really think you need to respond to anything, I will give you an extra minute to respond to it. But all of you are very much welcome. We have the 5 candidates that are running for governor in Makueni County. Honorable Patrick Musimba, who is running as an independent candidate. We can appreciate Patrick Musimba, ladies and gentlemen. We also have Emmanuel Mutisia, who is running on a UDA ticket. Professor, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, thank you.
We have Anderson Kaloki, an independent candidate. Thank you very much, sir. We also have Honorable David Masika of ODM Party. Thank you very much for joining us. And finally, Senator Mutula Kilonzo Jr., the current senator of the county. Thank you very much. Audience, kindly let us observe some decorum, obviously, as we engage. And I forgot to say that Honorable Patrick Musimba is the current member of parliament for Kibwezi West. I also want to acknowledge the Makueni County Development Forum and the professionals who are sitting behind me, and thank you very much. The deputy governors designate for this candidate are also sitting behind me. We acknowledge them also, and the county commissioner for Makueni County, who is also with us. Gentlemen, for the next 1 hour or so, let us talk about Makueni, and it's nearly 1 million people who are depending on your leadership. And I'll start with you, Honorable Patrick Musimba. In terms of fairness and distribution of resources in Makueni County, what is your plan?
My plan is, it has always been my plan within Kibwezi West constituency, is to divide. We have 30 sub-counties. We have 30 sub-counties within Makueni. Is to go equally, divide it equally among the 30 sub-counties and take it forward from there. Volume!
Audience, the volume is live on air, so if you want to keep quiet kindly, you will be able to hear him, and audibly so. In terms of the provision of fairness, in terms of distribution of resources, Emmanuel Mutisia, your plan for Makueni County.
Thank you very much. First, I'm very grateful for this opportunity to share our ideas for putting Makueni on the map. Very quickly, number one is to distribute the wealth of Makueni equally among the 30 wards. For instance, if you have 3 billion shillings that we have for development of Makueni County, then I divide that by 30 wards so that we ensure that each ward gets exactly the same amount so that there will not be any inequalities, and we see the kind of development that we expect in all these wards. So I would have that distribution take place, but also I would look at other factors, including gender. There are parts of Makueni County that are needier than others. So we have to have these cross-cutting issues to ensure that no one is left behind, or everybody gets the kind of development that they deserve as Makueni residents. Thank you.
Honorable Musimba, because you were disrupted, I think as you're making your point, kindly. Your plan.
Yes, I thank you again for the opportunity. Ideally, the wards have already been well thought through with the indexes which exist, the poverty index and so forth. So you're able to distribute these resources. One, remove the administrative part. The rest now, which is developmental, divide it equally across the country.
Hold it, I will bring it back to you because I understand your sound has a problem. But coming to Anderson Kaloki, fairness and distribution of resources in Makueni County. What is your plan if these people elect you as their governor?
Yes. Makueni County has 6 constituencies and 31 wards. I will distribute every income or wealth in Makueni equally in those wards. Yes.
That is your plan?
Yes.
Fairness and distribution of resources in Makueni County.
Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. First of all, I would love to establish what kind of resource it is, and if it's a local resource, maybe look at where it is located. I will, if these are resources that we are receiving, maybe from the national government, like my colleagues, I would like to make sure that all the wards do receive their fair share. Thank you very much.
Senator Mutula Kilonzo Jr., serving you second term as the senator for Makueni County. What is your plan in terms of, fairness and distribution of resources in this county if you're elected governor?
Thank you for the opportunity. First and foremost, let me make it very clear that there is already an existing infrastructure in Makueni which distributes 33 million shillings to every ward. That is already existing. I intend to make sure that that is followed. That's number one. Number two, in terms of resources, even at national level, you do not have equality. You have something we call equity. And at national level, we distribute resources equitably. And that is why we devolve equitable share of revenue, not equal share. What does that mean? It means that there's a ward in Kibwezi West called Masongaleni. It's not the same as Mboni ward, because one is larger than the other one. The infrastructure needs in Masongaleni are not the same that are in Mboni. So you can't treat them equally. Some wards like Mbitine in Makueni are extremely marginalized. So you can't treat Mboni the same way you treat Wote, because Wote as a ward is a headquarter ward. So there must be then the framework that we also use at national government. What are the needs of every ward? What is the population of every ward? How many roads do you have, kilometers, etc., etc.? Who is doing infrastructure? Who is doing agriculture? So that then, where you measure a ward, there are some wards you can cross up to 23 kilometers before you go to the end. Now, if you treat that like a ward in Kaiti, which you can cross in a minute or a minute or two, then you will cause inequality. And therefore, my answer to that question is that we must have equity. And the principles of equity must apply so that everybody feels the need for development, and you balance it so that the people who are far away feel as much as the people who are at the center, because they are not the same. Thank you.
Fantastic. I believe now, Honorable Musimba, you're okay to go.
Okay. Mike is back.
Yes.
I think I hear my senator. But,
go ahead.
I hear my senator. But the feeling is, when you're talking about equity.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think, are we on?
Yes.
I think the feeling about equity is that all these wards, as I said before, are well thought and they are able to. I don't know whether we're on. We're okay. There.
Just hold it a bit. Just hold it a bit.
Can I lend my microphone? Mine is moving.
Yeah, probably
movable.
can just
Yes.
lend him a bit.
I'm being kind.
So we take before we take a breather. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Thank you very much. Once again, when you're discussing the issues of equity, these are things which are thought through. My experience in Kibwezi West is that when we went equitably within every ward, you find that there are varying polling stations which balance the needs of the people. And across the 10 functions which are within the county, then going equitably within that formula doesn't lead to any form of favoritism or application of your own discretion to do these things. So it's just fair that everybody in Makueni gets an equitable level of funding, from what is devolved. But with the bigger challenge is, within the CIDP of the 2018 to 2022, they required an extra 30 billion to mobilize. And this is where now you'll be able to mobilize to do those cross-cutting developmental projects that are required to bring to parity the various wards within the county. So I thank you.
Thank you. As you elucidate your vision, it is important you tell us, as you talk about these things, what have you identified as your priority areas if you're elected governor in Makueni?
Priority number one within Makueni is water. It's water, it's water, it's water. So you start water and environment, then come into infrastructure because you want to talk about accessibility. And what does accessibility give you? It gives you the benefit of being able to tap into the various talents, the various resources that are within and are not tapped as yet, to be able to optimize our own source revenues and be able to grow our own GDP within Makueni County.
Your priority areas if you're elected governor?
Thank you very much. Let me start by saying that my manifesto for Makueni County is grounded on the bottom-up economic model that we are running as the government that we expect to have on the 9th of August 2022, which of course will be led by Dr. William Samoei Ruto. Now, the areas that we have identified and the focus of this bottom-up economic model is to devolve resources further below the kind of devolution that we have today in Makueni County. I have 6 priority areas in Makueni. Number 1 is water. Number 2 is agriculture and food security. Number 3, we have quality health services for Makueni County. Number 4, we have infrastructure and electricity, of course, physical infrastructure and so on and so forth. Number 5, we have education. Of course, education is not devolved. We focus more on ECDs. We do not have many of those ECDs in Makueni County. I think we have less than 100. We have around 900 primary schools. I intend to have at least 1 ECD per primary school. And of course, lobby from the national government for University of Makueni County, upgrade water technical to a polytechnic, national polytechnic, so that we can grow the kind of education and skills development that Makueni needs to prop up its economy and become a center of attraction in Kenya. And finally is, of course, the SMEs. We are talking about lifting up, propping up SMEs in Makueni County by allocating money which will come from mainly the national government, 1 billion ASLAS fund, that will be used to sort of support small businesses and grow small industries, so that we can create decent jobs to the youth, women, men, and everyone in Makueni County. So at least to have the capacity to grow the economy and move to the next level as a county. Thank you.
All right. We're going to take a short break. When you come back, you're going to pick it from you, understand, and get to understand your priority areas. And of course, for the rest of you, your priority areas that you have identified, that are the quick fixes that you need to fix in Makueni County if you're elected the next governor of the county of Makueni. But for now, we're taking a breather. We're coming back in a minute.
Yeah. So what is it?
Generation inakuja ni sisi tunalidi nchi.
Justina Wangui wa Mae, Root Party of Kenya.
Ukiitwa deputy itika.
Martha Wangari Karua, Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Coalition Party.
Tungetaka tuseme wa Kenya wameamua.
Rigathi Gachagua, UDA.
We are coming to bring in change.
Ruth Wambui Musheru, Agano Party. Battle of the Deputies. The Deputy Presidential Debate live on the 19th July 2022, 5 p.m. to 9 p.m.
Beatrice Chepkoech, the fastest woman in the world, becomes the world champion here in Doha.
The World Athletics Championships is being hosted in Oregon, in the United States of America, for the first time ever from 15th to 24th of July 2022. An estimated 2,000 base track and field athletes representing more than 200 nations will come together in a celebration of diversity, human potential, and athletic achievement. Short races are not the only attractions. Marathon, magnificent throws.
Is it going to be long enough? Oh, it's a huge throw.
And outstanding jumps among other disciplines is expected as well. Although an immense task awaits them, our own Team Kenya is adequately represented by resolute athletes ready to liven up Hayward Field at the University of Oregon.
What a race, what heart. Oh my goodness me, so close.
Don't miss a single glorious moment live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1. KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
We shall legalize weed.
Professor George Luchiri Wajakoya of the Roots Party. Raila Amolo Odinga of the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Party.
Unajua mimi sina pesa ya serikali ama ya cashback.
David Mwaure Wahiga of the Agano Party. And
hakuna kura ya hasla mtaiba.
William Samoei Ruto of the Kenya Kwanza Alliance. Presidential Debate 2022. Do not adjust your sets.
And welcome back to the Makueni Gubernatorial debate. We have 5 candidates on set, all of them debating the affairs of Makueni County. Before we took a breather, we were talking about priority areas for the candidates, the things they need to fix quickly if they're elected as governor for Makueni County. Anderson Kaloki, it's your opportunity.
Yes, sir. If elected, priority number 1 ni njaa ambayo tunaweza maliza kwa kuleta maji mpaka kwa nyumba zetu na mashamba yetu. Priority number 2 ni school fees. Tangu nianze hii campaign, wale watu wanakuja nyumbani kwangu wanakuja kwa school fees. Priority number 3, unemployment. Ukiamka asubuhi, mavijana wamejaa kwa njia, hakuna kazi ya kufanya. Priority number 4, security. Priority number 5, uhusiano wa mambomba. Na hii nataka kumaliza kwa kufanya 4 village administration. Every ward has about 72 villages. Nitasiri group village 4 katikati na chimba mbolo moja na kufanya network ya piping mpaka kwa mboma. Hapo katikati naweka security mask, kila mtu awe anachungwa usiku na mchana. Maji, every boma itachimbiwa dam ya 300 liters to start small scale farming. Hiyo maji will be enforced by dams from our major rivers. Hapo kwa 4 village, hiyo kulima ikianza, it will create employment in a small scale.
All right, your 2 minutes are over. Anderson Kaloki. Honorable David Masika, your quick fixes, your priority areas if you're elected governor.
Thank you very much. My priority fixes would immediately be, number 1 is water, which has been stated by the other people. And to do this, I would like to establish boreholes, which can be done virtually in every village now, so that water can be at least obtained nearer than where it is at the moment. The other one is the question of the schools. Niseme ya kwamba shule zile tuko nazo, where our children go, they need to be improved. And we need to start on improving them as well. I would like to look into the question of introducing and encouraging investment into this country to create employment. Na hapo nitaangalia pia maneno ya electricity. We need to get power here so that then we can get people to invest in this country so that they can provide employment.
By power here, what do you mean power here?
Electricity, enough electricity here to be able to operate machines and so on.
You mean Makueni County doesn't have
Makueni County, yes. It has got power, but not everywhere.
All right.
Yes.
So you mean to connect everyone?
Yes.
All right. Senator, your key priority areas when or if you're elected governor.
Thank you. Now, I have detailed my thoughts and that of my team in my manifesto, this one. And I'm the only one who has produced a copy and circulated it. Now, this is, everybody says water, but let me explain what the problem is. The problem about water in Makueni is actually a matter of national crisis. Our need for water in Makueni is nearly 44,000 cubic meters per day. We are producing only 14,000 or so cubic meters per day, and that water can only be accessed 5 kilometers away from any residence. That's the closest. Some people do even longer. The contradiction about that is that just next to Wote is a very big river. Across on the other side is Earth River. In every constituency you have a big river. But we have a problem of acute shortage of water. Two, so that I explain why they are tied together in some form that you must put together so that you make progress. The second problem we have is that over 70% of Makueni residents are agriculture dependent. And a similar number and similar percentage are food insufficient. So you have no water and you have no food. The contradiction again is as follows. Makueni is the largest producer of mangoes in Kenya. But those mangoes cannot get to the market because you don't have infrastructure. So you need water, you need to improve agriculture, and you need to improve our infrastructure so that the person who's coming from the hill can bring their produce to the market. We have the best pixie oranges anyone can produce. We have the best French beans anybody can produce. We have the best macadamia, 10 tons a season or more. But those ones cannot get into the market. So once you figure out the water must feed into agriculture so that you can improve the livelihoods of the most of Makueni residents who are depending on this for their daily livelihood. So those priorities, in my view, must be tied together in a form that you achieve. You achieve the provision of water, you improve the livelihoods of people by improving their agriculture and getting them the market, and then the 6,000 kilometers of county roads can be improved so that people can access a hospital. So we have good hospitals, but you can't access the hospital. So those are my priority areas in that order, so that it feeds into trade, into tourism, into youth and others.
I will give each one of you, of course, a minute to talk about the issue of water. But there is a complaint from residents about boreholes that were dug by the outgoing administration that are not functional or don't have water anymore. Probably as a senator for the county of Makueni, have you been able to query the county government?
Yes. Yes. In fact, one of them bothers me a great deal. And that borehole is in a place called Molala in Kibwezi West. Now let me explain the problem with that borehole and why I intend to fix that problem. The borehole was dug up to 250 meters. And the contractor then said that the funds he had been allocated were exhausted and it could not go below that. A few meters away from Molala Market in Kibwezi West is a Catholic church. They dug their borehole up to 350 meters and they are able to access water. So what is the problem about water provision and boreholes? Makueni constituency and Kibwezi West constituency, where Musimba comes from, has a problem with fluoride. Although the water table is very high, 3/4 of the water that you produce either from this constituency or Kibwezi West will most likely have too much fluoride. Last, of course, if you do not do a proper geology support and you do not figure out what I call reticulation. So you have a market in Chambeke in Kaiti where there is a borehole in the market, but that water is not accessible to anybody outside the market. So that is a problem.
Okay.
You have boreholes, but those boreholes do not have water reticulation. You have dams, like another one in Kadonzweni.
Yes.
There are water kiosks, but it's not accessible. So there are many things that have been done, but you have a problem.
Okay.
The county will tell you that the queries they have had at the Senate, the largest, is incomplete water projects.
Okay.
Thank you.
Incomplete water projects. Honorable David Masika, you talk about addressing the water problem in Makueni.
Yes.
But that's just saying, what are the practical steps you will take as governor to ensure there's water supply in Makueni?
Let me say boreholes is one of them.
Okay.
Let me also say that I have tried to address that problem. Actually, I chaired the board of 3 girls' schools, Moani, Good Shepherd, Machakos Girls. And the first thing that I did when I went there is to drill a borehole. And those schools have got water even up to now. So I would start with that, and that's why I mentioned that I would start with the boreholes, because they can be done. I know people already who are drilling boreholes in their areas, and they are supplying the villages with a borehole. So that is a source that I would start with myself. I would also, and I did say this when we went, when we were looking at our development plan for next year. This is a budget for next year when at Kavonzweni, at Wakadoka, that we need to carry out a survey of all our rivers, because it is not everywhere in the river where you can make a dam. And that's, again, something I would like to do, so that then I can be able now to get the dams designed properly and then put up. That's the next thing that I would like to do. Thank you.
All right. Everybody appears to favor boreholes in terms of addressing the water problem in Makueni.
Yeah.
But you also have dams here that are, probably unusable because of the water. And you're not talking about a resource you share with Kitui, the Thwake Dam. How do you plan to work with the national government to ensure that the Thwake water benefits the people of Makueni?
I have already said I will use Thwake and the other rivers that are bounding Kitui and Makueni. We have the Thwake and the Athi River. It has plenty of water. I have already gone there and inspected that river up to Mutitwandei. Na nimeona hiyo, we can reinforce the dams I've said in our homes, the 300,000 liter dams, to reinforce the water and the bores which is there, to do farming. Na nimeona vile Senator Mutula amesema, farming ya French beans, watermelon, tomatoes, and still it can bring a lot of employment and take out our young guys from roads to farming. It's kitu moja tu ya kusaidia unemployment before we come to the others.
Right.
So maji ni ya muhimu, na mimi kama nikichaguliwa, one thing I will do is to bring all the leaders in Makueni together so that we may work together. As of now, the governor is doing his own work, the MP is on work, the MCA is on work. And that is where we don't have meaningful development, because many of them are also fighting, stagnating each other's development.
Okay.
I want to bring every leader together, MCS, women rep, together so that we may map development ya maji na iwe a thing of the past for 1 year.
Fantastic. An audience, I urge that we go less on mamas to allow these candidates to elucidate their vision for Makueni County. Harnessing of the other natural resources you have, particularly on water, other than boreholes, how do you plan to use the other resources?
Thank you very much. Let me first put the statistics correct. 67% of Makuenians do not have improved water. It's only that 7% or that 2-point-something% who have improved water, and only 17% ndio wako na maji, piped water, I mean. And the Senator did put the kilometers that on average that shows the scarcity of water in Makueni County. I would like to put it correctly that it's 8 kilometers on average, the access of water from one point to another on average in Makueni County. Now, we've talked about a number of things, but let me talk about how we are looking at water in Makueni County within the bottom-up economic model. Number one, we're looking at fast-tracking, working with the national government to fast-track the development of Thwake Dam. and to ensure that that water is supplied in Makueni County. At this moment, the plans that we have is that that water is going to be supplied to Konza City, of course, is Makueni County, but the water might go to Machakos and Kitui. As a governor of Makueni County, I'm going to make sure that this water does not leave water here, go to Machakos and Kitui, and of course Konza, and leave our residents of water without water. Number two, we are looking at mega dams, 1 million cubic meters. Again, within the framework that we have, one per sub-county or one per constituency. That with support from the national government, and of course the resources that we have at the county and the resources that we get outside the country will be used to sort of ensure that each sub-county has that 1 million cubic meters dam, and that water will be piped to residents of Makueni County. At ward level, we're looking at 150,000 cubic meters of medium-sized dams, one per ward. And then when you look at the bores, I think one of the reasons why we did not have water in the bores that we have in Makueni County, one is about the inefficiency that has been alluded to, that to give work to a contractor, he does a bit of it and saves the rest of the money, or eats the money with some of the county guys here, and then leaves us without water. What we need is to have proper geological survey and supervision to ensure that we get value for money as Makueni people. I am looking at 300 bores in Makueni County, on average 10 per ward. Thank you very much.
Time is up. Honorable Musimba, I think you're among the people accused by Anderson Kaloki of working on your own as Member of Parliament, alongside other members of Parliament, of working on your own, particularly when it comes to implementation of water projects in Makueni County.
I would like to put that to record. I think Makueni leadership has worked together seamlessly. I think this can be attested by the Senator and all our sitting members of Parliament. The previous CDF Act provided for a coordinating board for ensuring that we don't have duplication of projects. And we've continuously supplied this sort of plans even to county level. But back to my constituency in terms of water, and colleagues have talked about boreholes. We've dug over 200 boreholes, put them on solar pumps, and it's worked quite seamlessly. Now, when you look at Thwake Dam, what's a game changer there? The game changer for Thwake Dam is the in creation of the Thwake City. What it will do is not only will that water resource or the power generation become a source of livelihoods, but will indeed become a source of employment. And an extension to that is we have to look at water from a household level. We have 250,000 households within Makueni County. We need to get a strategy into tapping, rainwater to be able to ensure that each home has at least 10,000 liters of water within it. What does that mean? It means upgrading the sort of housing that we have, remove from grass thatch to roofing, so that you're able to put gutters and be able to tap into that water. And this indeed will go a long way to capping between the seasons of water, which rainfall, which obviously it's as a result of climate change, and all of us are experiencing that around the world. And this is how we have to get proactive. Then look at other sources like Mzima Springs and see how Mzima Springs can actually be tapped, because there's a lot of water and there's a possibility of a new intake that will be able to cover the lower part of Makueni, and this will grow. Then you look at Onturesh, which feeds into the middle part of Makueni, that is Emali into Sultanahmud and parts of Makueni constituency, and this will grow a lot more in terms of feeding into this, but more importantly being able to store adequate water into every household.
Okay. Yes, I know you want to talk about Thwake Dam.
Yes. I thought I should, because you had not asked me, I thought I should say something.
Yeah.
We are surrounded by a company that provides water from Kilimanjaro. Now, the contradiction about this is that it has two water tanks. One at Enzai, just outside Sultanahmud. There's a water tank of 14.5 million liters. And on the highway, there's another tank of 5 million liters. Now, the water that goes to Oloitoktok is pumped from Mombasa Road. It's 100 kilometers away. So it concerned me that this water being closer to than Loitoktok would get the Noltresh water here. So I made a specific request to the government, requesting that they change the routing or bring a T-junction to Wote Town. And the minister wrote a letter to me, which I have. Being a lawyer, I carry my papers around. This letter of 6th of June confirms that the government has now agreed to have the water coming from Thwake to Wote. And the water that will be supplied to Konza will be the Northresh water first. And the government of Kenya, and we must thank them, have entered into a contract with Exim Bank, where Exim Bank has agreed to fund the feasibility study to get all the water from Northresh to Konza and the Thwake to Wote. So it's a win-win situation for us. And I want to thank the president, because when he was launching Thwake, when we were there with him, although the ministry officials thought that the first thing they would do is hydro, the president was very clear. The people of Makueni must get KU first, water. Thank you.
All right, fantastic. Coming to you, David Masika, in terms of improvement of infrastructure, and when I talk about infrastructure, I'm talking about roads in Makueni County. For example, you have the Ukia Road that is in a very bad state. If you're elected as governor, what is your priority areas in terms of fixing roads in Makueni?
I must say, maybe let me before I go to the roads, yes, the dams can be a source of water which can be supplied to the homesteads. The dams, however, are filled by rivers which don't in most cases originate in Makueni. So they cannot be managed from Makueni. They are managed from elsewhere, and that's elsewhere where you control the pollution. It is something that has been tried elsewhere. When I was the managing director of TADA, I did get water from Kiambere and I took it all the way to Mwingi, 60 kilometers. And that's about 10 years ago, and they are still on that water. Okay. When I was at Good Shepherd, I did negotiate water for the school at Good Shepherd from Northresh. And we even got the approval and even bought the pipes. But when I left, I don't know what happened, but that's something that can be followed so that at least...
Let's go to roads now.
Now, the roads, I was a chairman sometimes of the Makueni Roads Board. Now, the Makueni Road Board operates at the approval of the MPs. As you know, they are all members of that particular committee, the Roads Board. Now, if they don't develop the roads, or if they don't come up with the suggestions of the roads that they want done, then the committee finds itself in a problem. I will persuade the members of the parliament whom we have here in Makueni so that they can at least be able to agree with the MCAs of their own areas where the roads are and which roads they would like prioritized. Okay. And I think with that then we should be able to move faster. Yes.
You don't have roads that you think
yes,
fixing immediately?
There are roads that I think can be done. There are roads in this town or in Makueni which actually belong to the national government.
All right.
And I would like to push the national government very hard to finish those. Now, those which are here in Makueni can be done, even some of them manually. And I would like to use that method because it has been used here in Makueni and it has worked. And in fact, I've seen some of them which have been done by the locals who have been paid. Then the remaining ones, I would like to use the equipment to do them.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. What roads do you think need fixing in Makueni County in terms of ensuring the products that the people of Makueni have in their farms get out to the market? Yes. Have you identified roads that need quick fixing?
Sure, yes.
Yeah.
Kwanza, tuko na Emali Matiliku Road, ambayo watu wa Matiliku, hiyo mali hata jana na juzi, mimi nimetembelea hiyo area, na it is very good in oranges, na saa hii oranges iko kwa shamba, na kitambo sifika kwa market, they take a long time, kwa sababu suppliers wanatoka mbali, they take also long time. So Matiliku Emali Road, it is my priority list. And ile ingini Utangwa, ile napitia kwa Mheshimiwa Mtula hapo nje, it is very rocky. Na tangu watoto wangu somea Mboni Ngaos, that is the only nearest road to that school. Na usunguka kilomita mingi sana mbali kwa sababu ya hiyo. Na hiyo it will be in my priority list.
Okay.
Nikiweko among others.
Okay. Your plan for the development of roads that are under county government.
Thank you.
And what you have identified.
Thank you.
Audience, kindly.
Thank you very much. I think we need to look at the roads in classes, A, B, C, that is for national government, DE, that is for the county, and the rest. So, if you look at the priority roads that are supposed to be done by the national government, number one, of course, is the usual Emali Ukia Road. That's number one. Number two, we have one from Kambu, Chulu, Kimana, that connects Makueni County and Kajiado County. Another one from Water through Kalawa, Wamunu, links us with the Machakos County. Of course, the Chambalasi, Utangwa, Kikima. That's another one. We have so many of these roads that will link us and that will help us move our goods from one point to another or make our movement easier. So those are the roads that I will work with the national government, the members of parliament, and of course lobby from the national government, because I think it's about lobbying. Why we do not get our roads done is because as Makueni, we will not add that capacity to push for roads and to go and beg to ensure that we get resources to this county. We push at the national government.
Who should lobby?
The leaders of this county. And of course, now when you look at the D and the E and the rest of the roads, we have a number of them, which I will work with our partners from both locally and of course outside, because of those networks in countries like Japan, China, US, and so on, to sort of just do the minimum required tarmacking or maraming to ensure that our people are able to move from point A to point B comfortably. And of course, those ones who are transporting their produce, they're able to move from within Makueni County, and of course, from between Makueni and the rest of the counties in this country.
The Honorable Patrick Musimba, as you talk about your plan for improvement of roads, you have a road called Kali Kikima. It's not in Kibwezi. It's not in Kibwezi. You are actually about to take a fall. But obviously, there's also blame that comes to you as regards the lobbying of roads. And the UDA candidate believes it is your failure as leaders to lobby for roads. You don't have roads in Makueni.
I think the key thing to look at, it's not really leadership. As I said earlier, and I wanted to dispel this, Makueni leadership has worked together, especially at parliamentary level. We've all pulled our stops as we sit in various committees, and it suffices to say the changeover for like a road like Emali Ukia from a class C road all the way to becoming a national Akenha road has occurred because of that incessant lobbying by the members of parliament. It cuts across 3 different constituencies, that is Kibwezi West, Makueni constituency, and Kaiti. And the members have done that, and we've pushed it forward. Back to the county roads. We have $1 billion to spend a year on our roads. The idea is to bring to Maramim and the standardization of these roads. My colleagues attest to the issues of saying you're going to go manual. We need proper mechanization, and the best way to go is out to do leasing. You do leasing of equipment, be able to get more value for money, and you're able to expand this road network, because the first priority is people. How efficient are our people moving? If the people are moving efficiently, and I know a lot of our border artisans are really suffering, because you find they take loans for their border motorcycles, and midway paying them through, they're already broken down because of the state of the roads. And these are at our very bottom, are our business people, are our SMEs, which you need to support. But and so when you have that sort of road infrastructure, you're moving the people, then you start now moving the goods. And this is where the prioritization is, and it's not difficult to do. If you take a 5-year plan, and again, if you're talking about equity in distribution of resource, we're able to cover the footprint of 12,000 kilometers. And if year on year we're talking about 200 kilometers of tarmacking, then certainly, if we have clear-cut plans, as my colleague mentioned, which are cutting through, say from Loitoktok Road, which joins into the Emali Ukia Road, going through into Kitui, then you're starting to get a bigger picture about the interconnectivity of national productivity that is being enabled by our road infrastructure.
Okay. Before we take a breather, Senator, it is important that I give you a moment to talk about improvement of roads and talk about this Utangwa that passes just outside your area.
Let me explain. Now, the question of roads is, as I've mentioned before, is a matter that has caused Makueni lots of problems. In fact, in my view, historical injustices. A lot of people may not know, just unlike Machakos is served by the 3 road companies, that is Kura, Kera, and Kenha. So while they can do urban roads, we are unable to do so. Point number 2, I think we have been disadvantaged as a county because we were in the opposition. Because we have 2 stalled projects. That is the road from Sultan running all the way to Chambeke, all the way to Kee. It's incomplete. The second road is the one that this gentleman is talking about, the Kali Chambalasi Road, which was commissioned by His Excellency the President in 2017 in a place called Mbumbuni. Now, the company that was awarded this contract, most people will not know, is called Civicon. Civicon went under because the proprietors of that company went under receivership and became bankrupt. So what did we do? I personally participated in the lobbying for what we call a subcontract to a company called Shegley. Shegley was subcontracted for the road between Kali, Kikima, Chambalasi, all the way to Mbumbuni, which is 68 kilometers. But they only began their work after the contract was signed pre-COVID. They only began their work 3 months ago. So the road from Mboni Forest to Kikima Market is now tarmacked, and parts of Mboni. Okay. So they will come to the other side of Chambalasi soon. So the problem that my good friend and competitor is having about his children will soon come to an end. Let me talk about the Imali Ukia, because I participated in it also. When the President of Kenya requested for a specific project that he could commission when he was in Makueni in July, I participated in it. And we got a friend of ours from Makueni working in Kenya to design a proposal for the road Imali Ukia. Now, unknown to all of us, including me and many others, the Imali Ukia Road is an economic corridor that runs from Loitoktok all the way to Kidhimani. So we prepared a proposal with some engineers who are even seated in this room for that road to be commissioned from Loitoktok to Emali, Emali to Ukia, a loop in a place called Matiliku to Wote, and another loop from Ukia Junction to Wamunyu, to Etangine, all the way to Wamunyu, all the way to Kidhimani. Okay. The President, when he was in Konza, commissioned it. A feasibility study has been done on that road, and I'm told now, reliably, that we have a donor who has agreed to do that road. Okay. So I agree that we are possibly lacking information. We have not managed to sit all of us together. We are working in silos, and I hope when I'm elected governor, I can call all the leaders to a meeting so that where an MP needs to lobby, because it is the members of parliament who prepare budgets.
Sorry to cut you short.
Thank you. I'm sure you've heard me.
Yeah, absolutely. We want to take another breather. But of course, when you come back, we're going to discuss the issue of healthcare, because it is very important to the people of Makueni. So we take a breather. When we come back, we pick up on the conversation of healthcare. Don't go too far. You're watching the Gubernatorial debate live from Makueni County.
Generation inakuja ni sisi tunalidi nchi.
Justina Wangui wa Mae, Root Party of Kenya.
Ukiitwa deputy itika.
Martha Wangari Karua, Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Coalition Party.
Tungetaka tuseme Wakenya wameamua.
Rigathi Gachagua, UDA.
We are coming to bring in change.
Ruth Wambui Musheru, Agano Party. Battle of the Deputies. The Deputy Presidential Debate live on the 19th July 2022, 5 p.m. to 9 p.m.
Beatrice Chetkovic, the fastest woman in the world, becomes the world champion here in Doha.
The World Athletics Championships is being hosted in Oregon, in the United States of America, for the first time ever from 15th to 24th of July 2022. An estimated 2,000 base track and field athletes representing more than 200 nations will come together in a celebration of diversity, human potential, and athletic achievement. Short races are not the only attraction. Marathon, magnificent throws.
Is it going to be long enough? Oh, it's a huge, huge throw.
and outstanding jumps among other disciplines is expected as well. Although an immense task awaits them, our own Team Kenya is adequately represented by resolute athletes ready to liven up Hayward Field at the University of Oregon.
What a race! What heart! Oh my goodness me! So close!
Don't miss a single glorious moment, live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1. KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
Of course, welcome back to the Makueni Gubernatorial debate happening in Makueni County. I have 5 candidates with me. Honorable Patrick Musimba, who is an independent candidate. Emmanuel Mutisia of UDA. Anderson Kaloki, an independent candidate. Honorable David Masika, the ODM candidate. And Mutula Kilonzo Jr. of the Wiper Party. Probably before we pick up on the health aspect of devolution, let me hand it to Nancy Okware to pick a few questions from our audience. Nancy.
Naam, shukran sana JJ. Kwa kweli wale ambao wamewasili hapa wamesikiza baadhi ambao wamesemwa na wawaniaji, na hivyo basi nitakuwa tunawapa fursa kwenye awamu ya kwanza kuuliza tu baadhi ya maswali. Kuna mkono ambao ulikuwa umeinuliwa hapa, utasimama utueleze jina lako na swali lako ni lipi.
Majina yangu ni Bishop Dr. Jafeth Mwenyao, askofu wa makanisa ya Redeemed Gospel Church Makueni County. Swali langu na kwa hawa wanaogombea uchaguzi huu ni hili: ili kuepuka white elephant farms in the county, na wanaelewa ninamaanisha nini. Number 1, matunda ya Makueni yote inasambaratikia mjini na inamalizikia hapa na inaenda kwa middlemen. Hatukusikii kama kokote kwa Makueni Fruit Export Processing Zone, kwa sababu ikiexportiwa itakuwa na faida kwa wakulima. That one tungependa tukijua watafanya nini, kwa sababu hiyo ndio mapato ya mtu wa chini. Number 2, ni nini mtafanya ili uwasiliane na kuhusiana na serikali kuu ili mkaweze kufanya ile inaitwa equalization fund ili kaweze kusaidia masikini kule. Na number 3, utafanya nini kuhusu kazi ya vijana, ajira, kwa sababu that is the elephant job that you must do, na vijana wana kazi and it can be created.
Naam, asante sana kwa maswali yako. Nitakuwa nachukua swali la dada ambaye alikuwa ameinua mkono upande huu, kisha nitaelekea upande ule mwingine. Utasimama tu tueleze jina lako na swali lako ni lipi. Nitakushikia.
Naitwa Dorcas Matinge. Swali langu ni kwa Senator Mutula Kilonzo Jr. Tuelewa vizuri sana bwana Senator kwamba mahali ambako tokako kuna wakulima wengi sana ambao wanapanda kahawa na ambao wanapanda pia mimea tofauti. Wakati mwingi wao wanashindwa kiteta kwamba hawajakumbukwa sana viongozi wa kutoka mahala hapo, hasa wewe Senator wa Makueni Mutula Kilonzo Jr. Naongea haya kwa sababu nimetoka pande hiyo na wameteta sana wakisema kwamba hawaoni kwa nini wanafaa kupatia kuwa gavana wa Makueni County. Labda tuelezee kwa nini hujashughulikia swala hilo la hao wakulima wa kahawa kutoka hiyo mahali Mboni constituency. Asante.
Naam, asante sana kwa swali lako. Nitachukua swali lingine upande huu kabla ya kuelekea kule. Utatueleza tu jina lako na swali lako ni lipi leo hii kwa wale wagombeaji. Nitakushikia.
Yeah. My name is Stella Mbithe Musyoka from Kitise Kidhuki Ward, and my question is on economic growth of Makueni County. I would wish to ask our candidates, what measures are they going to put in place to ensure the economic growth, and especially so of those wards that are very poor? Taking an example of Kitise Kidhuki Ward with a poverty index of 88.7%, yet at the river, water from Mavoko flows undisturbed behind this ward into Indian Ocean. And also, this water, what are you going to do about it? Because it has industrial pollution from Mavoko. Thank you.
Asante kwa swali lako. Utaniruhusu nielekee upande huu mwingine tupate swali lingine. Kuna alikuwa ameinua mkono hapa. Utakuja tu hapa mbele kidogo. Kisha utueleze jina lako na swali lako. Utasimama hapa.
Kwa majina naitwa Nzui Kitusi. Swali langu ni moja. Tumekuwa na viongozi ambao wanajisimamia. Kifupi ni kwamba tunauliza viongozi wanaogombea viti vya governor hapa, wao are they their own people? Kwa mfano nauliza Junior alikuja 2013 kutokana na vuguvugu la kumsponsor. Inakisiwa kwamba wao hawajafaidi hiyo miaka yote kwa kuwa kiti ambacho wamekuwa nacho hakina faida kwao. Hivi hiki unataka kitakuwa kuwafaidi wao?
Asante. Natumai ya kwamba wameelewa swali lako na kwamba watakuwa na yajibu. Lakini kwa sasa hivi mtazamaji, ningependa tu kurejesha usukani kwake John Jacob Keoria ayaelekeze maswali yale kwa wale wawaniaji, kisha tutakuwa tunachukua maswali mengine baada ya muda usiokuwa mrefu. JJ.
Thank you very much, Nancy Okware. Audience, kindly at the back, please remember this debate is about these 5 gentlemen here. So kindly let's allow them to answer the questions. Senator, I think I'll come to you because there are 2 issues that are specifically direct to you.
Yes.
Neglecting of farmers in your area, and number 2, your position as senator. Are you your own man?
Thank you. That's an interesting question. I think it was asked by Nzioki. In 2013, I'll start with him because his is simpler. In 2013, I was unfortunate to have lost my father. And 7 days to the elections, the party picked me to be elected, and Makueni elected me with a percentage unknown in Makueni and in the country. In the second term, in 2017, I was elected again with even a higher margin of 92.something%. I was the second in the country in terms of votes. Now, when somebody tells you you're not your own man, what do they mean? Because my record at the Senate, my record in the Senate, my record in the Senate of the Republic of Kenya is known. I have been nominated 5 times as the top senator. I'm hanging awards in my office. Those awards were not given to me because I'm not my own man. Those awards were given to me because I have proved that I am fit to be in office as a senator. Now, it's possible also that a lot of people, including the person who asked, do not know the role of a senator. The role of a senator is to protect counties, oversight counties, allocate revenue. When I was elected under sympathy votes, this county was receiving 4 billion shillings. By the time I exited, and I have not still exited, by the time we had John Sindai, Makueni is receiving 12 billion shillings. I was the minority whip of the Senate for 5 years. The only person other than Senator Dulo who served in an office for 5 years, yet my party had 2 seats. I have proved not only to Makueni but Kenya that I am capable, I am dedicated, and I have a man of my own. To Dorcas, the one of Dorcas, the question is legitimate, but is also, there's part of lack of information on it. And let me explain why. The Kikima Coffee Factory is a factory where I'm an interested party. First, because I grow coffee. That's one. 2, the Kikima Coffee Factory is run under a cooperative. That cooperative is managed and has a director called Esther Kivindio working in Makueni as a director. Because we have put the cooperative, they are running on their own and they have their own factories. Now they have had a problem. They have had a problem about price. They have had a problem about management. Somebody told me today that every time they elect a leader, they end up being scammed. Every time they elect a leader, they end up being scammed. Now, what role does Senator Mutula have to play with them electing a leader who is scamming them? It's not my problem. They have just been electing bad leaders. Now, in a proper system, the person who collects our coffee is called Thika Coffee Mills. Thika Coffee Mills is giving Makueni farmers and Boni farmers a raw deal. When I become governor, the first thing I will do is throw them out of office and get a good price.
All right.
To the other questions, and I want to answer the Bishop.
Very quickly, in 1 minute.
It can't be 1 minute.
Yeah.
Bishop, the Equalization Fund under Article 204 of the Constitution does not apply to Makueni, because there's a marginalization policy that either deals with counties. The first marginalization policy had 14 counties. The second marginalization policy had 2,500 sub-locations. No sub-location in Makueni falls within the framework of the Equalization Fund, unless we then amend the Constitution to increase the limit from 0.04 of national revenue to something close to 2%, so that you are able to share. On mangoes export, the mangoes in Makueni.
Let me cut you short just for a minute, because you'll also get an opportunity to respond to those ones.
Thank you.
But for fairness, let's just allow the others also to respond to the questions. Honorable David Masika, very quickly responding to those questions in 2 minutes.
Which questions are these now?
The questions you have from the viewers, it's about fruit processing in the county. Obviously, there's a question of equalization fund that has been dealt with by Senator Mutula Kilonzo. But talk about fruit processing and youth unemployment in Makueni.
The question of the fruit processing, in my own view, we need to finish it up quickly. Then what remains is the marketing now of what comes out of that fruit factory. The market is there.
Audience, please.
The market is there, but we have got to find a way of increasing the value so that the life of the fruits after they are picked from the garden. And that can only be done if it includes the courtrooms as well. You can export fruit, and I have exported fruit to Europe for many years when I was the managing director of TADA. So if we do finish this, then that is still there. That possibility is still there. It is already there. We have spent money on it. I will definitely finish it up, and then I will start in that process of exporting it to in our manifesto.
Hold it. I'll come back to you. I understand your son has a problem. Fruit processing, youth unemployment, if you're elected governor.
Yes. Kwanza, kwa hiyo swali imeulizwa na Bwana Japheth kuhusu hiyo employment, market ya ile vitu yetu na
matunda haswa.
Yes. Hata vitu vingine. Mimi wananchi wa Makueni, mimi nimesomeshwa na wazungu kuhusu mambo ya maziwa, kuhusu mambo ya fruits and other small kama market gardening, kama French beans and watermelon. Kitu nimejua ni viongozi wetu wasaidie wananchi wa Makueni kupanda hizi vitu kwa njia ambayo inatakikana by the international market, kuweka maji, kuweka ndawa the right time, na tukiweka hiyo the pricing ya hiyo mimea itakuwa juu, na vijana wetu ama watu wetu wa Makueni wanaweza kujiemploy kwanza hapo, na ni ukulima ambao unachukua kama miezi 3, unatoa unapata pesa ya kutosha, na hiyo ni mahali vijana wanaweza kujianjiri. Tukiwa na hii maji, hata hii kidogo ya borehole tunaweka kwa mboma. Ng'ombe 2 tu, one producing 40 liters. Ukiwa na ng'ombe 2, 80 liters jameni, is also enough employment kwa wananchi wa Makueni.
All right. That is how you deal with unemployment.
Kusaidia kupata hiyo masomo ya kupanda na kutafutia market.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Emmanuel Mutisia, your plan on fruit processing in this county, because you have a lot of fruits, and obviously addressing the problem of youth unemployment.
I'm going to go very quickly through all the questions that have been raised, and I'm going to start with.
Please deal with those two.
I'm going to start with Castor because that's linked to the farming that the bishop talked about. We plan within the framework of the bottom-up economic model to establish a special crops economic zone in each of the sub-counties. In Boni, for example, we talk about the macadamia, the avocados. We have that zone that will have industries in, that will also create jobs, decent jobs to the youth of Boni and as well as the youth of Makueni County. It is the same thing with what the bishop has raised about fruits. I'm just from Kilili. We're talking about the Kalamba fruit front. And we did say that there's a problem because we need to establish a framework within the plans that we're establishing as Makueni County to ensure that they work for the purposes that they were made for, and especially to ensure that we get value for money. Okay. In Makueni constituency, and my brother here, Stanley Chung, reminds me, we'll also have a special crops economic zone to work for the fruits of that sub-county, to ensure that people get, to sell their products within Makueni constituency, but also add value or develop the value chain of this fruit industry, and ensure that we produce something that can be consumed in Makueni County, but also exported to countries that have been into, like China, Japan, and so on and so forth, so that we can bring money back home. Now, number 3 is about the jobs creation. I think I've talked about that because one of the biggest challenges that we're facing today is about youth who have certificates and youth who are not employed. Within the framework that we have at the moment, we will focus on the industries that will be established within different parts of Makueni County. We talked about the farmers, for example, which will sort of produce the kind of jobs that our people need. Ndio kuwe na pesa mfukoni na maendeleo songe na mbele.
All right. Honorable Patrick Musimba, fruit processing, youth unemployment.
I thank you for this. The key thing about unemployment, I must say, is there are 2 issues when it comes to employment. There's unemployment and there's underemployment. Meaning we have a lot of people who have capacity and are being underutilized. My strategy is as follows. We've come up with a model called Makueni Pesa, which refers to our political, economic, social action as a way of propagating ourselves. We have 947 market centers strewn across Makueni County. The strategy here is to convert each of them as a center, as a hub of excellence, with ICT as an enabler. What do? The average market center has around 10 or so businesses. If you combine that with our major market centers around the county, you'll have around 20,000 existing business people. What we do is introduce a semblance of attachment and internship into the already existing businesses that are there, so that you start cascading the issue of entrepreneurship within the places. Coupled with that, move to our existing universities. We have Lukenya University, we have our existing TTIs, one in Boni, one in Kibwezi West, and the other one which is coming up, one is in Makueni, and another coming up in Kilome. What you do is inculcate now the training programs that will be uplifting these people. And then the issue you have is you've been having business people who've been doing the same business for over, say, 10 years. Upgrade them to the next level. What does that do? It moves now the people who've gone through an internship program to come and occupy that space. For instance, if we have border operators are good drivers. They're already organized, they have their own structures. You're able to improve them, and now they become pro box operators. How's that? We have NM microfinance institution be able to mobilize funding, which is at a lower cost ratio, because because of pooling of funds, you're able to negotiate these interest rates, and then be able to cascade these businesses to grow up forth till they own lorries, they come in.
Now
and
go to fruit processing.
Yeah, now into fruit processing is to have collection centers across the county, to be able to have now cottage industries which give you value addition. That's why I spoke about the Thwake industrial city. What does the third industrial city do? It comes up with full value addition plans across a particular city, but be able to go into again the market centers and offer them cottage industries where we have value addition taking place. So as opposed to dealing with the brokers where they're taking things at a lower produce price, we're able to add value to it and get premium prices for either export market or bigger urban centers into processing if we're not going to put up the infrastructure ourselves.
Okay.
When it comes to the Kitise question, and this is very, very important, for our permanent rivers, we need turbines. We need turbines that work with the flow so that they are able to move water 3 kilometers inland. And this has worked brilliantly in Europe. So that now the issue of water availability, our potability comes down to less than 2 kilometers because it will be passing through streams. The issue of pollution, it is time we called out the pollutants upstream by name because they are known. So that then we are able to adopt, like when we came up with a plastics strategy as a country and we banned plastics, it was out of people saying enough is enough. It's choking either our life forms into our rivers. And now we call out those companies and say, we're not going to do business with you because you're killing our people downstream. Okay. And this will add value to them. Thank you.
David Masika, I think you had not responded to the two issues. Very quickly before I go to Senator Makueni.
Yeah, thank you very much. Let me say that I have spent most of my life in the private sector. And in private sector, your business is really to make money.
Go ahead.
In the private world, you don't get money, you make money you yourself. In Makueni, I would like to start by encouraging investors here. I would like to encourage people to come and invest here in housing so that money that we spend hiring houses elsewhere, that money will be spent here. The tenant will employ a cook, will employ a watchman, and we are addressing the issue of unemployment. I would like to say that if we do encourage investors here, and I intend to work very seriously to encourage tourism in this country, because we have got what it takes to get people in Makueni to visit our hills here. And that will bring money into the hotels here, will bring people to take other people to the hills, and that will create employment as well. Okay. So that's how I intend to address some of the issues of unemployment. Bring people to invest in this country, and those people will come with their money, they will employ. At Makueni here, I'm employing about 200 people. We need people to invest here, not to talk about investment elsewhere. Okay. Because by investing here, you will employ.
Okay.
Thank you.
Senator, as you respond to some of the issues you hadn't responded to, as the Senator of Makueni County, are you aware about the state of Kalamba food processing that processes mangoes? There's also Makueni Fresh that is in Kikima-Mbawani sub-county. Yes. Are you aware of the state of those?
Yes, I'm aware. In fact, there's one more. There's another one in Kadhonzweni.
Okay.
Now, the one in Kadhonzweni was done by USAID. It's a beautiful facility. That facility has not opened for the last 3 years. I was there 2 weeks ago. Yet it can process as much milk as possible. It has the best equipment you can imagine. We can make yogurt, we can make mala in Kadhonzweni. The fruit factory in Kalamba is a beautiful investment. Now, unknown to many people, an audit firm called PKF audited Kalamba Fruit Factory. And their proposal is as follows, which I tabled at the assembly. They are saying the government is not supposed to do business. Look for an investment partner so that they can deal with the fruits, they can deal with the factory. Why? Because the fruits available in Kalamba and that region are only available between the month of December and February. And therefore you have a problem. For the rest of the year, there's nothing that happens at Kalamba. So part of the problem is that we have not done the governance structure of Kalamba, which I will do because the proposals have been done. On export, and I want to say this because it is helpful for Makueni. We have two types of mangoes. In Makueni, we grow what is called the apple mango. That is for table. table mango. The fruit that is available and is used to process juice is called Goe mango, grown in Kwale. So our pulp that is 3 tons in Kalamba, only 5% of every 100 is useful for juice. And we can't even get, the last one they attempted to sell, they could not even get $70 per barrel. What do we do with the export? I have had the privilege of meeting with the apex team of the people who are doing fruits in Makueni. Same with horticulture. Unfortunately, the person in charge of fruits in Makueni is a lady. Her name is Phyllis. This is the problem. We have a problem of fruit fly in our mangoes. So that I answer the question of Bishop. So our mangoes are not fit for export because of the fruit fly. Now, in Kibwezi, there are private farmers who are doing mangoes that are being harvested between August and December. Those farmers out there in Kibwezi have managed to secure this outfit, the national government outfit called HCBA something, that licenses and approves the mangoes that are grown in Kibwezi for export. Right. Now, if you want to solve the problem, the farmers of Makueni have requested the county government to help them meet the standards. Once they meet the standards, we will be able to export part of our produce, that's one. And two, the rest we can either sell for purposes of a fruit, for purposes of table. I'm going to give you this example because it's useful. In a minute. I was recently in a country called Dubai. In Dubai, some of the mangoes from Makueni end up in a place called Festival City. One mango in a Festival City is 14 dirhams. That is an equivalent of 400 Kenya shillings. Now, what is the problem with the farmers in Makueni? There's a group of people who are called brokers. The brokers are making 9 shillings per fruit, while the farmer is making 8 shillings per fruit. These are the problems that a good government should be able to take care of. And that is what I intend to do when elected. Thank you.
Thank you. Kindly. Let's talk about healthcare. Good people. Audience, please. Let's talk about healthcare. And I'll start with you, Honorable Patrick Musimba. In terms of your priorities for the provision of healthcare, some of the complaints coming up from the residents of Makueni is, number one, that dispensaries don't have enough personnel. Remember, this is a primary contact for healthcare, and they don't have enough personnel. Sometimes sub-county hospitals, the facilities they're in, do not match up to the needs of the people. How do you intend to fix healthcare?
Well, we've taken great strides, I think, as Makueni, and indeed won accolade about our universal healthcare coverage. And it's true, we have inadequate personnel. From a doctor's level, you know, what the biggest challenge is, there's a hierarchical thing. When you come out from medical school, you practice for 2 years, and it's expected that you'll go for your master's program to go and get areas of specialization. Now, my strategy is, how do we improve the bottom part? How do we get medical officers to try and upgrade? And we have a very good KMTC coverage within Makueni County. As such, improving those skill sets to be able to have numbers that can be able to fit into our dispensaries, our already existing facilities, will be the way to go. But more importantly, health sector is gobbling maybe 50% of the budget which we consume in Makueni County. We need to move towards preventive rather than curative, so that we have the benefit of 10 years of statistics about the sort of diseases that we are dealing with, and we are able to now move towards preventive, be able to have better diets, better sanitation, better water that is more potable, and be able to push that way. Okay. But the answer lies in how do you develop your human capital. You develop your human capital within that healthcare, so that you have healthcare supports people, be able to do the merry-go-rounds and sensitization to that end.
All right.
In terms of facilities, again, leasing is the way to go. Be able to get you know, like people, yes, you go and get the diagnostics, which are you come in a triage. But the issue is when you're being sent now to a secondary provider to get x-rays, to get MRIs, and so forth. And that's where the detail hurts the common man. Okay. And that is where we need to be able to address through leasing programs that are able to get that coverage down to a lesser distance, the same way as accessibility to water.
All right. Professor, you plan for healthcare?
Let me first start by saying that Makueni County has laid a very strong foundation in the health sector. They've done very well compared to most of the other counties in Kenya. And I think for us, as once I become the governor of Makueni County, I'm going to build on the foundation that has been created by the county. Of course, we know the challenges. Number one, I will look into increasing the facilities that we need in the health sector in Makueni County, looking at one dispensary with a doctor and medicine in each ward. A clinic or a dispensary in every big market in Makueni County, so that we can bring health closer to the people of Makueni County. Number three is the human capital development that my brother has alluded to. We need to train more community health workers. Of course, move from community health volunteers to health workers, so that our people in Makueni County can, of course, get jobs in the sector. Given that I think we are spending more than 50% of the total development budget that we have as a county. And to do this, of course, we need to look at where the budget is going to come from. And I think that would be a very critical question, because today, out of the billions that we get from the national government, and of course from outside, 69% goes to recurrent expenditure. It's only around 30% which comes to development. And therefore, we need to look at where we're going to get all these monies that we require to bring about the kind of development that we need in the county. I will finalize, end by saying this. One, the insurance card that we have in Makueni County is a good one. But of course, we've had issues with it, because we have the card, you go to the hospital and there's no medicine or there's no doctor. So we need to work with the national government so that we bring down the NHIF insurance support to ensure that our people are all covered moving forward. And of course, to ensure that they can access the services that are provided by the national government. Because without that support, we might not be able to get to the level that we want to get into. You want
to abolish the Kivuda card?
No. We are going to upgrade it and work together with the national government to ensure that our people are covered. Okay. And that is why I think talking about the bottom up is critical, because those people who are hard hit by health challenges are at the bottom. Okay. And working with the national government, and as the manifesto that I have at the moment, we're going to ensure that we bring all these stakeholders together from up to the bottom, and from the bottom up to grow the kind of economy that we need at the moment. Thank you.
Plan for healthcare?
Yes, sir. I would like to start by saying this. Mambo ya health ni ya miili yetu. Our own health ni ya miili yetu. We cannot solve health kwa kuongea Kisungu mingi. Ile tunaongea na Kiswahili. And the coming down ni Kasimbure. Mahali niko kwa ile for village administration, in a very simple way, nataka hapo katikati kwa village iwe na mobile clinic ambayo iko na daktari day and night wa kusaidia wananchi hapo karibu. Mambo ya mama akiwa anazaa ati anakimbizwa mpaka level 5 at night na hakuna barabara, atasalia njiani. Hiyo ndio ya kwanza. Ya second, in our hospitals, saa hii kila mtu anaenda anasema hakuna dawa. It is only quality processes from a very simple and humble leaders ile inaweza kutuokoa ndio tuweze kupata ndawa and the honest doctors ambao hawachili ndawa sipotee. I have experienced that because nimepigiwa mchana nikachukua mama ameshikwa na wazimu, tukafunga kamba tukakimbia hospitali. I thought dawa ya wazimu ni kidogo kwa sababu wazimu si wengi, but baada ya kuandikiwa ndawa nikakuta hata ya wazimu hakuna. What of the other? Mimi mwenyewe nikatembea kwa town 8 pharmacy. Mama amejiuma huku. So we need a simple and a humble executive, and the honest one, to get the workers working.
All right, a simple and honest executive that will get the workers working. Masika, your plan for healthcare?
Thank you. Hapa nitategemea ile wanaita baba care, lakini hata kama sijafika kule niseme nimeisha baba care. Lakini niseme hata kabla sijasema hivyo nimeishafanya kazi hapa Makueni hospitali kwa miaka 5. Kwa hivyo najua kile kinaendelea hapa. Tukalete maji kutoka Nunzu, tukalete hapa, tukajenga manyumba yale yako pale. Pia nikafanya kazi na Nairobi Hospital kwa miaka 10. Ninasema ya kwamba mahali ninaweza kutoa pesa za kusaidia kwa hospitali na wajua. Mahali naweza kutoa pesa ya kununua mashine na wajua. Kwa hivyo nikiingia kwa hii nitafuata hiyo, ni raise revenue ya kuimprove the hospitals that are in Makueni, ya especially mother care, tuwe na mother care katika kila sub district hospital, ndio tuendelee na kusaidia watu wetu. Kwa hivyo niko na experience ya kufanya kazi na mahospitali, na nikitumia hiyo ninaweza kuapply hiyo kuimprove hospitali zile tuko nazo na kuongeza dawa na daktari. Asante.
All right. Probably before I hand over to Nancy, Senator Mutula Kilonzo, and as you respond to that question, tell us also if you're aware that there are some medical training colleges, lecturers who are doctors in hospitals in county government, but they spend much of their time in lecture halls than in hospitals.
Thank you. The problem of healthcare is as big, and I can explain. Number one, it's not like we don't have personnel in Makueni. Makueni has a total of 236 health facilities, 13 of which are level 4. We have 800 nurses. Our total budget for purposes of salaries in Makueni is 2.5 billion. Now that is a huge sum. 65%, as everybody has said, goes to salaries. Now what is the problem about Makueni? The problem is that the workers are unhappy. 50% of these workers are on PNP, that is permanent and pensionable. A similar number, 50%, are on contract. So you walk into a hospital, this is a nurse, is a permanent and pensionable employee. This is a nurse receiving 40,000 a month. Chances are that our workers are demotivated. 2, on the Kibwana healthcare, they have already identified what the problem is. And I wanted to correct Musimba, because our total households are not 350,000, they are 244,000. Now, the target, can I be heard? The target for Makueni healthcare was, a card was supposed to be used for the 5 members of each household. Now what is the problem with that? The problem is as follows. If you applied for NHIF today, would you get the facility tomorrow? The answer is no. So ideally, for purposes of Makueni, and a very few out of the 244,000 households have taken up the Makueni healthcare.
You have 30 seconds.
What they need to do, we need to do first, for purposes of making sure that we have adequate medicine in hospitals. We have a disconnect between what KEMSA is doing in Nairobi and what is happening in Makueni.
Okay.
I have an example. I went to a place called Ngaka. Ngaka is in Kibwezi West. There was a nurse and there was medicine. But in others, we don't have medicine. Why? Because although Makueni is given accolades for procuring our medicine e-system, when we are discharging the medicine, we use ordinary booklets. So my position on this matter, and I submit, the only way to change the medical healthcare in Makueni is to make it fully electronic. Thank you.
Okay. I think do you need to respond about the issue? Absolutely. The Honorable Musimba says he doesn't need to respond. Probably answer your query. You can now pick the microphone and take a few questions from our audience if you don't need to respond to the issue on the hospital in Kibwezi West. Very quickly, take the questions so we take the final round.
Naam. Shukran sana JJ, na kwa kweli bado kunayo maswali ambayo tunazidi kuchukua kutoka kwa wale wananchi ambao wamewasili hapa, na nitakuwa tunachukua baadhi. Kunaye ambaye ameinua mkono hapa, tupe swali lake kwa kifupi, kisha tutakuwa jina lako na swali lako kwa kifupi.
Asante sana. Jina langu ni Isaac Mugo, ambaye ni ambassador wa Movement for Community Led Development na pia ni champion wa Makueni Development Trust ambayo ni MADET. Swali langu kwanza ni kuna changamoto mingi sana za wanarika. We know the situation analysis of the youth in Makueni County and the entire world in general. How are you prepared as the future governor and the next governor of Makueni? Swali yangu inaenda kwa the 5 aspirants. How are you prepared to improve or to strengthen the community-driven development? We know that the last regime, hii regime ya Professor Kivutha Kibwana, tumeona mwananchi ameweza kuchangamka na serikali imekuja na mpango wa kufanya kazi kule vijijini, vijana waweze kuweka pesa mfukoni. Nyinyi mmejitayarisha vipi kuweza kutafuta hiyo ajira ya vijana? 2, agriculture is the backbone of Makueni County.
Tutachukua tu hilo swali manake hakuna muda, na ili tuwape wengine fursa. Simama tu tueleze jina lako na swali lako kwa kifupi kabisa.
I'm Simon Nzioka with Mandate. My question is on matters accountability. What system will you put in place to ensure the citizens of Makueni are able to hold your government accountable? Thank you.
Naam, kunaye dada hapa, nitachukua swali lake, utakaribia tu kidogo. Naam, jina lako na swali lako ni lipi kwa kifupi?
Asante. My name is Wavinya Nzioka, na naweza omba kuangalia.
Naam, nitakushikia.
My question is to all of you, our governor candidates, because I'm vying for the woman rep seat and I want to work with the governor who will be elected in Makueni. There is a big gender agenda for Makueni, and I haven't found it to be a priority to any one of you, but I would want to pray that it becomes your priority, and especially the aspect of empowerment of the special interest groups, the youth, the women, and the PWDs. What is your plan about that? Thank you.
Asante sana. Kwa sasa hivyo cha nirejeshe usukani kwake John Jacob Kioria.
All right, each one of you has 1 minute. I'm sure you have heard the questions and have noted them down. I don't need to belabor. 1 minute to respond to those questions.
Okay, those are very good questions. For community development, one, we recognize it's a role within the Constitution that you must have public participation. And indeed, we'll continue with that because it's already a budgeted program. The only difference which we'll have is I would rather change it into an entrepreneurially driven program so that we optimize, instead of the homes becoming consumption units, how do we make them production units? So we use that same, the money which is going down, and I believe in this budget it's $1 million per village cluster. How do we change it into becoming like a seed fund for them to produce the $1 million and moving forward? That's a sustainable way forward. As the question about accountability, I think I've led from the front. In Kibwezi West, we've received in the last 10 years over $1 billion shillings. I've always accounted it to the letter and to the last coin, to everybody to see what we do, how we do it, which companies were involved, what are the PMC committees which were charged to deliver in that particular program, what was the amount, and the people who bidded for the tender and were not able to to succeed, they are written for individual letters explaining why they did not meet it. Let me just, their special interest
30
group.
seconds.
30 seconds.
Yes.
Special interest group. I've committed, my cabinet will have 50% gender. 50% gender. And that will cover the special interest. I think that was important for me to say.
Fantastic. 1 minute to respond to the 3 questions.
Thank you very much.
Kindly, let's allow the candidates. Go ahead, sir.
These, as my colleague did say, these are very good questions. To boost community-based development, I believe that the current government...
Silence, please.
The current government has done very well with participatory governance, where we bring the communities to sit together and identify their priority areas of development. I'm going to build on top of what has been developed by the current government, so that we ensure our people are involved in prioritizing the areas of development that they would like to focus on as a community. Number 2 is about the ajira kwa vijana. I think we have responded to that. Within the bottom-up approach, we have put decent jobs creation for the youth as one of our core agenda. Number 3 is about accountability. Accountability focus will basically, I will ensure once I am elected the governor of Makueni County, that every person who is in charge of any docket within the government of Makueni is accountable for the resources that are allocated in that document, docket.
30 seconds.
And if, please, thank you. And if somebody is caught sort of mismanaging resources, that person will be sent home. And the last point was on
special interest groups.
Special interest groups. Let me note that Wavinya, that gender is a cross-cutting issue in my manifesto. Today we have 59% of women employed in Makueni County. I'm going to ensure that we keep that figure in everything that we do, in the allocation of resources, in the employment opportunities that we are going to create, and any other activity that we're going to undertake as a county in Makueni. Thank you.
Okay, Kaloki, response to the 3 questions very quickly.
Yes. I think...
Silence, please. All right, go ahead, sir. Go ahead. You're live on air.
Watu wa Makueni, I think ajira mitaani ni kazi ambao haiendelei kwa muda mrefu. Ningependa kutafuta a permanent solution. Kwanza kwa kuwa na University of Makueni, as big as University of Nairobi, ambaye it will employ all the almost professionals wa Makueni. Second, a Makueni International Airport. It will employ also professionals here. A telecommunication network for Makueni here, like Safaricom. It will employ a lot from here. A Makueni bank, which will empower people to do some small businesses kutoka kwa banki yetu, and it will almost capture many unemployed and professional people.
Okay.
Accountability. Accountability. Mimi, I'm an auditor, and I come from the procurement and supply chain. Mimi nitashika senator wangu hivi with all the viongozi. Whatever we shall be doing, I will be briefing the viongozi. They will come back to you to brief you. I will go with my senator to Senate to brief them, the members of parliament, so that they may know what Makueni we are doing.
Special interest, 30 seconds.
Special interest.
Go ahead.
Special interest, physically challenged people and the women. Kwa hizi infrastructure nimesema, we have special areas where we can employ them. And I will make sure they are trained so that they may work in those like clerks, accountants, to fix them where they can work comfortably.
All right, fair enough. Masika, your response to the 3 questions, very quickly.
Yeah, thank you. On the community-driven development, I will encourage and continue with this. On agriculture, I will introduce modern methods of agriculture I will provide fertilizer and I will provide seed for the animals, for better animals, so that we can be able to produce the animals. On the accountability, I will practice accountability in the office and in all the branches of my government. On the gender, and particularly on the special people with the special needs, I am already involved in this line. I am already a owner of a company which already looks after 55,000 children with disabilities in the country. So this is not new to me. This is something I have done, and I will continue doing it.
And
Thank you.
Continue doing it.
Yes.
Senator Mutula Kilonzo, your response to the 3 questions in 1 minute.
I'll start with that. I'll start with the last one.
Okay.
The last one by Mheshimiwa Vinya. I think on my part, I've demonstrated that for purposes of women, my deputy governor is a woman. The second one is the provision for special interest is already in law. My work is to ensure that the 30% allocated is 30%, not 25, not 10, not anything else but 30%. On the question of accountability, in my manifesto I have said I will set up an accountability office. I have similarly stated in this manifesto that I will have a functional audit office. The executive must have a way of auditing itself, and that's what I will do.
Okay.
Thirdly, on the accountability is to set up a unit or continue the unit called Special Delivery Unit, whose mandate is to check value for money for our projects. On the question of youth, the community-driven
30 seconds, Senator.
The community-driven initiative by Makueni County is a good one, but it's not sustainable. The only way to sustain the youth of Makueni is find an industry where we can have a lot of employment, not very few. And I've proposed in my manifesto to have an industrial park. Makueni County government, fortunately, has entered into an agreement for a special economic zone in a place called Ngumo, in Kibwezi West, where Musimba comes from. Okay. So that is what you do, is to encourage investors. Okay. I have said in this manifesto that within 100 days I'm going to call investors to Makueni, so that we can give them the opportunity to look at what they can invest in.
All right. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us tonight. It's been a wonderful time. This has been the gubernatorial debate, Makueni chapter. God bless you. Have yourself a good night. My name is John Jacob Kill.
Thank you.
Are we done?
Yes.
The fastest woman in the world, becomes the world champion here in Doha.
The World Athletics Championships is being hosted in Oregon, in the United States of America, for the first time ever from 15th